Hi guys, I got a question from a trainee the other day, and he wanted to know if I was able to produce a chart showing the top 5 clients and then an additional bar for all of the others. So yes, I can. It's a little tricky, but I do want to show you how to do that both in M as well as in DAX. So stay tuned. So I brought in a little bit of data from the Northwind data set. So I have the company, the customers table, and I removed all the columns that I don't need for this specific example. And I did the same thing for the invoices table, and also I filtered this down to just one particular year that we're interested in. So let me start off by making sure that I get a list of the top 5 clients. So let me do this by company name, and we want to have the top 5 company names based upon their sales. So what we need is an additional measure here. So this is going to be our sales, so let me make this a little bit bigger. Sales will be the sum X, so we're going to go by the invoices table and take the quantity times the unit price. So this is going to be our sales. So let me just add that measure here to this table. And there we go. So next what we want to have is a measure that determines the sales for our top 5 clients. So sales top 5 customers equals to calculate. If you're not sure on TopN, I did a thorough video on how TopN exactly works, so make sure that you go ahead and watch that video. So what we need to do here is the sales, keep the filters, use TopN. So we want to have the 5 customers. Make sure that we ignore any filters coming out of the customers table and base this upon their sales. So this should work. Now we should be able to get just the top 5 customers. And here we go. And there you go, that works. So we're going to use these measures now. So what we're going to do is go into our data view, and we're going to add a new table, since we need to add that record that holds others, right? We need to make sure that we get a table in our module that includes a record for our others. So here goes. So I'm just going to not rename it for now. So table, let me start off by a formula which is called row. So that's going to add a 1 row table to our data model. So we have specified the first column name. So that will be company name. And so the value is going to be others. And then we want to add a second column, and that's going to be our sales. And the value, well, let's make sure that we take the sales and deduct the sales of the top 5. So that would obviously be the sales for the others. Okay, so now we have this 1 row table added to our data model. Next, what we're going to do is, let me just comment this, make it a little bit smaller. Comment this and add an additional table, which is going to be our TopN. TopN is a table formula, so it's going to result in a table. So we want to have our 5 customers based upon their sales. So let's run this. And then we get this table, so that is correct. These are the 5 customers. We want to let go of that customer ID. So what we're going to do here is summarize this table that we just created and only have the company names returned. And next we want to add a column, so that summarize is also going to allow for doing just that. So I add an additional parameter, which I'm going to call the sales. So this is that parameter right now will be the name of the column, and the value, well, we just take the sales that we've already created, that measure. So now we added the sales for our top 5 clients in a table. And so what we want to do is append these 2 tables. Well, append in SQL and in DAX is called union. So Control KU, uncomment. So we're going to say union this first table and union it with the second table. And there you go. So now what we have is the table that we were looking for. And obviously we could just simply apply this on our canvas, right? So we could say, give me that new table and give me the company names and give me the sales. And then we would get the same values as in the previous table that I've created. So that total is still going to be the same total, of course. But now we get that other column included here. So this is how to do this in DAX. Let's also have a look at how this can be done in M. So here I am in Power Query, and I have the invoices table here. And the first thing that we need to do is make sure that we multiply the unit price by the quantity in order to determine the sales. So we're going to take both columns and we're going to add a column in which we're going to say, well, add a column. Oh, I also have the customer ID selected still. Okay, so standard, and then we need to multiply these two columns. So this multiplication here will be our sales. So next what we want to do is we just group this by customer so that we get the entire sales for a customer in this year that I filtered this table down to. So I'm going to go ahead, group by. So what we want to group by. So we want to make sure that we sum this column that is still called multiplication, but we're going to rename that and call it sales. So this is the settings that we want to have. And now we're going to have only two columns left. And then so what we have is a value, a sales value for each customer. So next what we need to do is add an additional step to this query. So what we're going to say is give me the table.max n. That's the formula that we want to use. Indeed, the table that we want to use is the one that we've created in the previous step. We want to compare this by their sales, and we want to have the 5, not 4, but the 5. So this is what we need here. This would be the formula that we need to use. So let me enter this formula, and indeed, all I get is that top 5 that I was going for before. Let me duplicate this query. Okay, so now this is the invoices of the top 5. Let us turn this into the invoices of the other. Okay, so I just remove a few steps out of this query here. Okay, just this step. So now we got all of them. So what we need to do then is say, well, let's go ahead and merge these queries. So we take this one and then we take the top 5 and join these tables on a customer ID. But this is the trick, right? Now we have to make very sure that we use that inner join. Only the, the left anti. The left anti join is what we need here. Okay, rows only in first. So that is what we need here. So we're going to use that left anti join, rows only in first. So this is effectively filtering out the top 5 clients out of this list. So we don't need this column anymore. It's fulfilled its purpose. So this is what we need. Now next what we're going to do is we just might as well remove this customer ID column, because we want to have one value, one record with one text string saying others. Okay, so let's add another column, a custom column, which is going to be well, let's call it custom for now. And so what we want it to be is others. That should be the value every single time. And what we have here is that customer ID. So that is what we want to have this called as well. Customer ID. Now I also want to make sure that there's no space here. Okay, so no space. So let me remove that space. It has to be the exact same one because we want to append it a little bit. Okay, so I added then this column here. And what we need is this to be a type text. Okay, so it is type text now. Well, if I enter this, it's type text. So now what we're going to do is just group this. Here we go. Group this by sum of that sales value. And yes, we're going to call this sales. So other, so that will work. So now all we need to do here is go ahead and say, let's go home. Append these, let's append them as a new query. invoices top 5 of the invoices other. And now we're going to have an additional query. And all we need to do now still is look up the names of the clients. So let's join this on the customers table based upon the customer ID column. And then make sure that we add the names, right, the company names. So now what we can do is let go of this column. And obviously it wasn't able to find anything for that others column. So let's go ahead and transform and replace these null values into others. There you go. So this is going to be resulting into that same result as that we did previously in DAX. Did you like this video? Then like this video. And also make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.